On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks get a win against the Portland Trail Blazers. Daniel Gafford, the player of the game. How big was he? Real big. Talk about him, his future, and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great, Rusty.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
One more time.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Amazing.
Your team every day.
And welcome. You're locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we let it ride. Thanks for being an everydayer, making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. Subscribe to our free Locked On Mavs newsletter, your one stop for the best news and analysis on the Dallas Mavericks and the NBA, straight to your inbox every day. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in the regular season action with FanDuel, because right now new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And joining me, as always, on a postgame, the postgame prodigy. What you got for me, Slightly Biased?
Feels weird that we have so many games like this where it's just like huge blowouts and we're just kind of scraping to see what we could say.
Nope. I was talking to our Locked On Blazers host, Mike Richmond. I was texting him during this game, and he said to me, well, he said this is the team that he's like, this is a team some people in your orbit have to podcast about several times a week.
That's true. I guess there's two sides to the coin.
And we've been there. When Isaac and I started this show in 2017, it was before Dennis Smith Jr. So there was nothing to talk about.
The Mavs were never this bad.
Even the season with Dennis Smith Jr., they weren't this bad, but we still had that. And there was like every day we're like, all right, well, let's do draft, trade. What else can we talk about besides the on-court product, basically? But today we're talking about the on-court product. We'll get into how the Mavs got this win, how they locked in the second and third quarter on defense, I thought. We'll talk about Luka's return, 27, 7, and 7 in under 30 minutes. Gotta love that. I want to talk about Kyrie and his defense. I think Kyrie's defense was really apparent in this game. But let's start here. The big man, the landlord, Daniel Gafford. To me, player of the game for the Dallas Mavericks. 23 points, only 5 rebounds, but 7 of 7 from the floor. 9 of 14 from the free throw line. 14 free throws. I didn't look that up, but that's got to be like a record for him. There's no,
it was. I think
I can't imagine he's at 14 rebounds or 14 free throws in another game. And he just controlled the paint. And the thing about him is these are the teams that he thrives against. The Portland Trail Blazers played 40 minutes of Ayton at center or Klingon at center, the big centers that he can body, that Gafford is stronger than, that he can play better than. And he had a sequence in the third quarter, 350, 250, 150, and one in a row, and just scored and got fouled, scored and got fouled, scored and got fouled. You just saw everything that Daniel Gafford has been this season in the game like this, where he can score, he can get in the paint, he can finish, and it's not just alley-oop dunk, wide open dunk, right? It's not like the Rudy Gobert alley-oop dunk where it's got to be perfect and it's got to be in the right spot and he only does it 1 or 2 times a game. This was, I have the ball, I'm going to go up, I'm going to score, or I'm going to take a couple dribbles and score in the post. Like, he was showing off all the moves tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, his scoring adds another wrinkle to this offense. And I was just looking it up because I was curious. In the 8 games that he either hasn't played, he only missed 1 game, but either hasn't played or scored under 10 points, 8 games, the Mavs are 3-5. And in the 21 games that he scores double digits, they're 16-5 in those games when he scores 10 or more points. I mean, that's an unbelievable record. And it really does add another wrinkle to this offense, because there's games, like, for example, that Clippers game a few nights ago, the one in which they lost, where you just saw Dereck Lively is, and I think, I'm sure we might talk about this, but Lively, the starting 5 is perfect. Gafford off the bench is perfect. Like, it just it complements what those two do so perfectly. But you saw those moments where Zubac is in, a deep drop 10 feet off of Lively, and Lively's just sitting there at the top of the key and waiting for somebody to come and get the handoff or somebody to make a backdoor cut, where Gafford is somebody who can look at that. You saw that multiple times tonight where Ayton is sort of dropping off and giving Gafford 10 feet of runway, and Gafford decides, all right, I'm going to the rim, and I'm going to put my shoulder into you, and I'm going to get an and one, or I'm going to finish. And that's the wrinkle that he adds to the offense. It's not a coincidence that when he scores, teams are like, what are we supposed to do now? And that's why their Mavs are 16-5 in games where he's double digits.
We've seen him be effective in transition. I don't know so much in this game, but run out and be a long target for Luka as well. And I just think that him being able to do that, being able to dump down and let him kind of post up a little bit, let him do some work, or just be around the basket and finish when, to create a threat there so that there's not as much attention and you can't send two guys to the ball when somebody drives. I think that's what we talk about, vertical gravity, when somebody can roll up and down, like down the lane, and you can't just like leave that guy. Like you got to stick with him, and you can't just like run away and then go double on Luka or Kyrie who are driving or whoever. That's vertical gravity. And I think Gafford brings that for sure. He had a quote after the game that I found really funny. He said, it was just asked about his game. He's like, yeah, it's great. It's great anytime I can score and anytime I can get an and one, because then you just get a nice scream out, get all the negative energy out, get all the negative out. Like, it's very cathartic to get out. And man, he got it. And I think those screams, like after the and ones, and that, like, I think that gives the Mavs energy. I really do. I think that helps them like amp up. I think that he's one of those guys that drives the team emotionally when he gets those kind of buckets, because Klay hits a three and like it's cool, calm, and collected. He was a little excited for a couple of his, but when when PJ does something, he can get pretty into it. But for the most part, guys are cool, calm, and collected when something good happens to them. And then all of a sudden, Gafford gets something going, and it's just this primal scream. And I think it really gets the rest of the Mavericks into it. And I love seeing that from Daniel Gafford. I think that the rest of the team feeds off of it.
Yeah. And I mean, we talked about this before, like the energy guys for teams, especially a team that has been in deep playoff runs, team that just went to the NBA Finals, December 23rd against the Trailblazers, you have a Christmas Day game. Like that's always one of the biggest days of the year in the NBA. This is a game where maybe you get caught sleepwalking a tiny bit, and the Mavs had a kind of stinky first quarter. I never thought the game was in question at all, but a first quarter, you're like, all right, they got to clean this up, and having guys that are just 110% all the time and bring that energy, bring that effort, are going to scream after they hit and ones and get the bench going. Like, those guys are really valuable. I mean, they really are. We've talked about this. It's hard for anybody on the team to not match that energy when somebody's bringing it. So, we love that.
Gafford plays such a good role off the bench, gives them that extra bench scoring when they need it. They don't need more scoring in the starting lineup, and that's what Gafford brings, right? But they just don't need that. They need that coming off the bench. They need that in some of those lineups where it's just Luka or just Kyrie. And I think his fit, I think moving to this spot has been so good for him. Yeah,
I agree. Like, the Mavs are now 6-0 with this starting five.
Yeah,
with Luka, Kyrie, Klay, PJ, and Dereck Lively, kind of the starting five that we all sort of expected. And I think it's part of it is because Gafford.
We were right again.
Yeah. Just another correct prediction on our end.
I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
That's right. Hey, we're just watching the same games. We just seem to always come to the right conclusion. But no, it is, Lively plays so well next to Luka and Kyrie. Gafford does as well. But Gafford's also somebody who can generate his own offense and stuff like that, which is something Lively's still working on in a lot of ways. And Lively's, a better playmaker, a better passer. I think that kind of works with that group a little bit more.
Yes.
Where Gafford, when you're staggering the stars and Gafford's out there, you need another guy who's like, all right, 10 seconds left on the shot clock, dump it into Gafford and let him post up and see what we can get out of that. That's really valuable to have.
Yeah, or like come off, like the ball handler comes off of a screen, you're looking and you're like a quarterback making your different reads. Okay, should I go to the roller or the guy that just popped? Should I go to the far side corner? Did somebody help off of there? Gafford becomes one of your reads. Lively is not necessarily always one of your reads, because you don't know that if he's going to have an advantage down there and post up and score. Every once in a while, he'll do the little hook shot thing. He's been doing that a little more. He had one of those in this game. But Gafford is definitely, if Gafford is posted up and has position, all of a sudden he becomes one of your reads that you can throw the ball to off of a screen. I think that's just invaluable for this team. So Gafford, great game from him, I thought, and just played really well off the bench. Good for him, playing in the perfect role for him. Coming up, let's talk about Luka's return. What did he look like? And how did the Mavs get this win after a bad first quarter? How did they bounce back from that? We'll talk about that and more coming up.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs is brought to you by Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply for product specific disclosures. Visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rates may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, what we call our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show. Check the QR code for different ways to follow the show. We got the newsletter that goes out every day. We have the Locked On Mavs Insiders. You can get texts straight to your phone from us, so subscribe to that and help support the show. We'll I send notes during every game. I send every trade rumor I see, I'll send it with some notes and some thoughts on it. Go check out Slightly Biased YouTube channel as well. Great stuff over there all the time. Slightly early, slightly late, both. Like slightly streaming.
Slightly early, yeah. Taking a hiatus for the holidays. I just have realized you say shout out to the Raccoon Squad. That's what we call our members. It makes me think you used to not do that, so it makes me think there was maybe a mix-up.
I've had too many people ask what the Raccoon Squad is.
Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, they're new, and I get it. It sounds really weird. Like what is that?
It does.
So
it does.
So I just have decided to throw that in there. All right.
Sure.
Luka Doncic returns after a couple of games absence from his heel injury and kind of a rough start to the game. I think he was like 1 for 6 or something to start the game.
1 for 6.
And he had, I think at halftime he had 3 and 1s, and then he was like 1 of 7 from the field. Yeah. The rest, so like his jumper wasn't going early, but finished the game 27 points, 7 boards, 7 assists. There's only been 4 other players in the NBA this season to have 27, 7, and 7 in less than 30 minutes, and Luka becomes one of them.
All right. I mean, yeah, 9 of 12 from the field after the 1 of 6 first quarter. It was one of those classic ones where Luka misses a shot. Oh man, he looks a little out of shape. Like, man, I don't know what happened. Luka makes his next shot. No, he's looking good. The heel's looking good. He's looking lean.
Finishes through contact. Like, oh, real strong. Like, nice.
Yeah, strong. Cardio is everything looks great on that end. No, I thought even his misses I thought were pretty good looks. Just didn't get him to go. Did I miss a Tumani Kamara Luka beef?
I was watching it because I was there in the arena and I was watching them go back and forth. It was just the normal, like, think about all the Terrence Mann back and forths with Luka and all the like Mo Wagner. It was that kind of stuff where just Tumani Kamara was up in his grill. He was grabbing onto him. Luka was upset, and like Luka scored on him, and then Luka would like stare him down, and then Kamara scored on the other end, would stare him down, and you're like, all right, what is going on here?
It's so interesting to me, like, because Lou Dort and Luka get into it, obviously, but there's a mutual respect there where it doesn't feel like there's a lot of trash talk during games and stuff like that. Like, there was definitely times in the playoffs like last year where Luka would look at Lou Dort and be like, tee him up for flopping and being on the court every 5 seconds. But
well, to be fair, Luka does that with Chris Dunn too.
So. Chris Dunn, yeah, but I'm saying like. It's just so funny, baby. He was going at Kamara all the time, laughing at him, wanting him to tee him up for flops. Like, just hilarious when Luka gets into these modes. And I wonder, like, starting 1 of 6, if he was just like, all right, Tumani Kamara, I have to go at you. Like, I have to pick on you now, and we're going to have a feud for the rest of this game because I need it.
Well, and he did. First play out of halftime, he went right at him, finished. And scored and made it an 11-point game.
I mean, that's real GOAT stuff. I was watching the Lakers-Kings game from a few days ago. LeBron out of nowhere was like, I hate Chris Murray. Or Keegan Murray. Sorry. Keegan Murray. Like, I hate you, Keegan Murray.
The other one.
It was like kind of like sad.
He got so sick of hearing the Keegan Murray. And he's like, all right, we need to stop. You don't like the Keegan Murray? Like,
no, I don't.
I wish we had one of those for the Mavs. I love that chant.
It really doesn't hit whenever the Keegan Murray is like you baked on him becoming your third option all-star level guy, and he's shooting like 30% from three.
He becomes a kind of three and mostly D guy.
Yeah, and it's like patronizing anytime he hits a three. It's like Keegan Murray. Oh, thank God, finally. Oh, that guy.
I wish we would do it for Klay Thompson though. Klay Thompson. That'd be fun.
Yeah, they don't have any that ring that like really. Quentin Grimes. Like, they don't have any that really
I would do that. I would do the Quentin Grimes thing. Yeah, Luka though, I mean, just 1 of 7 from 3. Couldn't really get his 3-point shot going, but got to go in the paint. He just kept scoring.
Oh, yeah.
The Mavs scored 64 points in the paint. Now they allowed 62 points in the paint, but they scored 64, which was they just kept attacking over and over again. Luka just dominates these bigs that are kind of mobile, but play drop all the time. He just dominates those, and so a good return for Luka. Only 3 turnovers too.
Yeah, no, I think he played really well. He looked good. They shot 83% at the rim. The Mavs did. I mean, that's crazy. That's such a high number, and also drew 8 fouls in that process as well. So yeah, they were dominant down low tonight. I mean, 8 and you just know you pick on that guy.
What's the verb you just used?
Dominant down low.
Oh, I think
dominating.
I think you said dominant. Like,
I'm still recovering. I got whatever Naji Marshall's been cursed with for the last 3 months.
You got the plague?
Now. I must have.
Wow.
I mean, I feel better, but I still I was streaming earlier, and I got to like hour and a half in. I was like, I'm having a hard time talking.
Wow. I mean, you've just been coaching too hard.
I really have. That must be it.
Several people at the games have been asking me if you're going to show up on Christmas suited and booted.
I'm not showing up suited. No, but I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be excited. Well, because I'm doing Christmas morning at a relative's house. It's like, I don't want to be going straight to the game after that. It's like, I don't want to be in a suit.
You'd be like Jim from The Office when he wore the tux that one day.
Yes. I'm like, I don't know.
Idris Elba's like,
so much suit action.
Why are you doing that? Oh, that's funny. Kyrie in this game plays under 30 minutes. 20 points, solid, 7 of 14, 2 of 6 from 3. Like, okay, normal Kyrie game. I thought his defense, just this the last couple of games, but especially in this one, just really showed up. He starts by picking up Simons. In the last game, he picked up James Harden, and you thought, okay, you and I talked about it. Maybe it's just he really wants to go at Harden, and he really wants to take on that challenge. But now he's guarding Simons, the best player on the Blazers. And starts with him. He gets switched on to Jeremy Grant sometimes, gets switched on to other guys. Like, he's switched all over the place. I thought his defense was just really good in this game, and it stood out. And like, that's a tone-setting thing when your best player, your best like second oldest player, and your leader is the one that is setting the tone on defense. And the leader of your team is the one doing that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think part of it is like the same conversation I have with Luka sometimes, where he's such a smart and heads-up player. And when you're that skilled and gifted offensively, you know the tips and tricks. You know how players are going to try to get you off balance. You know how players are going to try to set you up for moves and counters. And, Kyrie's never been like a bad defender. He's just small. He's small. He's 6'2". So when he can play on another small guard, it's not bad. It's just hopefully you don't have to rely on that because you need him offensively. And, he's not like a all NBA level defender or anything like that. But it is, I mean, it is interesting that he's just picked up it's two best ball handlers last 2 nights.
He's done it a couple of times, and it's made me wonder: is it something they think about Klay? Is it maybe by design because so many teams run pick and roll? Like, have you seen that graph going around to show how many teams run pick and roll? And it's like 35% of every team's like sets is pick and roll. So there's some kind of screen.
There's the Grizzlies.
Yeah, then the Grizzlies are not doing that. They're doing the opposite. But all these teams run pick and rolls all the time. And so if you start Kyrie on the ball handler, then a screen comes up. Then you could just switch, and then all of a sudden maybe you get a better matchup on the ball handler anyway.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. That could absolutely be the case. I think it's also very possible that Kyrie's just behind closed doors like, hey, let me pick up Simons tonight.
Right.
Like, I want to guard that guy.
Hey, he killed us. He crushed us last time in that third quarter. Remember that wild third quarter he had last time these two teams played? And then he was terrible the rest of the game, but he was really good in that third quarter.
Yes.
But yeah, that's the one that I hope. That's the one that I hope that Kyrie in closed doors is saying, let me pick him up. Let's do this. Let's set the tone and do that, because that's what a leader does.
Yeah, absolutely. And that could be the case. But it could also be just like hey, if they're going to run screens, then in an effort to maybe hunt you or Luka, let's just put you on him immediately. And either they just ISO right out the gate, which isn't as good of a look because you don't get the advantage of a defense rotating off of a screen and what all that action causes.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Well, and if the game turns into an isolation back and forth game, you're not going to win that game against the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, you like your odds.
They're the second best isolation team in the NBA after the by numbers after the Celtics, and they run it more than almost anybody as well. Like they have the two of the best in the entire game at doing that.
Yep. You like your chances if you're the Mavs when it gets. I mean, that's why I picked the Mavs for the finals, and obviously we were always going to pick the Mavs to win the finals. But that's why anyone I listened to last year picked the Mavs.
Don't give away the gambit.
That's why it's like anyone who picked the Mavs last year to win the finals who weren't like Mavs fans.
Yeah,
were like, yeah, I mean, those two guys, the Celtics, like that was a strategy. Like if you get into an ISO fest, the Mavs have advantages, you would think, and that obviously did not play out that way for the Mavs in that series. But yeah, it's how they're built.
They did not get in an ISO fest. They got into a Celtics ball movement all the time. Get the Mavs in rotation, and then Kyrie not be good enough on the other end to make up for it. That was tough. But but for all we said before, Kyrie came out this season. He told us on Media Day that he wanted to come back for vengeance. And so far this season, he's been really dang good. He should be an all-star.
Oh, for sure. He should be an all-star. I would be shocked if he wasn't. Shocked. Is that even up for debate?
I mean, it may be. I don't think it is.
No, I haven't really looked into it too much yet, but I'd be absolutely shocked if he's not an all-star.
After Christmas, Isaac and I, but we'll probably do that in an off day. We'll take your ballot too, and we'll see where we land on it. Because I think he's a lock for sure.
I would hope so.
Coming up, let's talk about the Mavs defense. Let's talk about the other things we saw in this game. Klay Thompson getting closer to Reggie Miller's number of threes made. That was pretty exciting in the arena. Let's talk about that and more coming up.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds, things that you can use to get in on the action. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can finish the season with $250 in bonus bets. Ooh, $250 in bonus bets with your first $5 bet win. So if you've been waiting around, you waited long enough. This is it. We've done these ads for like 3 years. It doesn't get better than $250 in bonus bets. So this is the one to put it down on. Find a must win, like find a guaranteed, and put the $5 down. Get the $250, and then you can play with it and win all the money after that. FanDuel, so many ways you can pick up a W. Love betting on which players score a touchdown, all kinds of stuff like that. Check it out. See what is available for you. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Slightly, let's talk about the rest of this game. Get into what we saw from the Dallas Mavericks. Klay Thompson, 13 points, 5 of 10 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3. Launched a couple of heat checks there because he was trying to get closer to Reggie Miller. I think he's now 3 threes away from 5th all time in threes made. They had a countdown in the arena on the scoreboard, and when Klay hit the third one of this game, you could tell he was super hyped about it because I know he looks up to Reggie Miller, and that was a big number for him. But Klay himself, record aside, Klay himself has really found his groove in this Mavs offense.
Yeah, he's been incredible. And we even were saying when he was, I guess, kind of struggling a little bit from 3 and then maybe wasn't putting up the stats that we were hoping for, was that, A, he's notoriously been a slow starter in his career. Yeah. So we knew that was going to turn around. But also, B, all of the on-off numbers, all of the advanced metrics and stuff like that just pointed towards the Mavericks being a much better basketball team when he was on the floor because of all the spacing that he provides. Also, the added playmaking element, we've talked about that. And his defense has been solid this year. I mean, I really had not too many complaints at all with him defensively. And, when it's him making threes and hitting threes at a high clip, that's just everything. It's just icing on top of the cake, and it makes his team almost unstoppable offensively. And it's just crazy. I mean, Steph said something about this where it was like when he broke Reggie Miller's record, it was like Reggie Miller's record hitting threes. And now it's crazy that, what is it? There's 5 guys.
it's now wild.
That are now in the top 5. So that is crazy to think about because that to me feels like that was a year ago when Steph did that. But I guess I'm misremembering.
Yeah, Steph is number one. Harden, then Ray Allen. When Steph broke Ray Allen's record, that was huge. That was the one that was massive.
Yeah, Ray Allen.
Then Lillard, Reggie Miller's at 5 now, and Klay is now. Well, I think he's just 2 away, but I think he has three to pass him away from Reggie Miller. LeBron's right behind Klay, by the way, which is kind of a sneaky one.
That's crazy.
I know.
LeBron finishing his career top 5 in 3-pointers made is just insane.
Paul George is 10th. Vince Carter is 9th. That one surprised me a little bit looking through here.
Yeah, that one I agree. That's surprising. And anytime I see Vince Carter 3-point numbers, I am always surprised by it. I did know he was top 10.
That's a reason why he played 22 years in the NBA is because he turned himself into a good 3-point shooter. It wasn't just dunks and that's it.
Yep, that's true.
Other Mavericks on the list. Number 11, Jason Terry, 2,282. Number
11th?
He's 11th. I was surprised how high he was too.
Yeah, that's a little surprising.
Jason Kidd, 18.
That is also
that's
kind
wild.
Of surprising. Just thinking about where he was early in his career.
Could not shoot. Was Ben Simmons to start his career. And score better than Ben Simmons, but you get
also played
hyperbole.
20 years.
Yeah. Dirk Nowitzki, 19th.
That's surprising that Kidd is higher and Jason Terry's higher than Dirk. But Dirk was a mid-range guy.
Kidd is 6 threes farther than Dirk.
Wow. Dirk come out of retirement for a couple months.
If Dirk had come into the league now, I think he would be way higher.
Oh, yeah. Dirk would be top 5 maybe all time if he came into the league now.
Okay, here's a real sneaky one I did not expect at all. 25, a Maverick, Wes Matthews.
Wow. I mean, I think
he's above Kobe Bryant. He hit more threes in his career than Kobe Bryant.
That list in 20 years is just going to be populated with 3-and-D guys.
Know. It's going to be all. Kyrie is 28th. He has 1,808.
Yeah.
Tim Hardaway Jr. is 33rd. Okay, I'm done with the list.
The Tim one doesn't really surprise me. I would have guessed
33rd and most made threes in NBA history in the regular season. I would have
guessed high. It's kind of a new phenomenon that role guys can put up 7, 8, 9 threes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's become a role. Now, a role used to be you're the defensive stopper, the Kobe stopper. They come in and all you do is just Tony Allen, Raja Bell. All you do is that. Now
if you shoot a 3, you're benched.
Yeah, right. Yeah, or take a jumper. We don't want you doing that. Now you just can't have non-offensive players anymore. It's just not possible, and that's
we talked about all last year. The volume shooting guys, where it's you kind of need those guys on the floor now.
But now it's that guy has to do more than one thing because there used to be the Joe Harris, Davis Bertans type. You could just throw those guys out there and that's all they did. But
man, can I say Davis Bertans deserved the contract he got? I know it ended up not.
He had one good season,
but that season with San Antonio was the prototypical. This guy is the player of the modern NBA. He's tall, he's lengthy, he can do so many different things offensively.
No, he can not so many different things.
No, he could though. In San Antonio, he did. He could attack closeouts. He had floaters.
He had the one good year in Washington. He scored 15 points and he took 9 threes a game, shot 42%.
What is he listed as? 6'10"?
He's listed at 6'10". He's definitely 6'10". He's very tall.
Yeah, he's tall. I mean, he was. I understood the contract. It just did not pan out.
Did not. It panned out for him.
It did pan out for him. That's true.
Panned out for him. Quentin Grimes only hit 2 shots in this game. They're both pull-up jumpers, and I just love it. I just love it because that's something that not a lot of Mavs role players have done the last 4 or 5 years, and I just love to see it. They're both contested too, and I love it. I just love to see it.
I love those one dribble pull-ups, man. I just think there's such maybe the boomers are right. I mean, the mid-range one dribble pull-up, there is something about it.
The analytic, screw the analytics. Bring back the one dribble pull-up, long twos.
There's something about it when it goes in. You're like, oh, great shot. If you shoot that shot in a pickup game, everyone's like, whoa, nice shot.
Yeah. Oh, and you make it. If you don't make it, then you're going back on the other end. My bad, guys. My bad.
Because it's tough.
Yeah, right. Because it's a confidence shot. It's a I feel good about my role. I know what I can do, and I feel confident in myself in my shot. And boom, I'm gonna take this shot.
Yep.
You mentioned Naji Marshall. He played 15 minutes, which normally you'd be like, okay, 15 minutes. Klay played 18, so that's not a blowout game. Naji only played 3 minutes 36 seconds going into the fourth quarter. We're waiting. They're still doing pressers as I'm talking, and we haven't heard anything about Naji yet, so I don't know what was going on with him, but it was very interesting. He played all the fourth and only 3 minutes 36 seconds the rest of the game.
And I was gonna assume this was another illness thing, and Kid just kind of felt the flow of the game and thought, okay, we're not gonna need all of our horses to win this game. So Naji, if we don't need you to play,
champ, just
speaking of
hang out
Naji,
over there.
Coughs mid
I was
talking
saying.
about Naji Marshall. Jeez, but yeah, we don't need you out there. Like, we're not gonna burn you. But then to play the whole fourth quarter definitely has me a little curious as to what's happening there.
Yeah, because you think if it was illness, like if he had the plague like you do right now, another cough from Slightly. If he had the plague, then you would want to play him in small spurts. You would want to play him 12 whole straight minutes to end the game where you're in garbage time. You are running up and down because it's really fast because a lot of times you don't have good offense going. And so you're just running back and forth.
Right, yeah.
Maybe he's working back and he wants his conditioning to be better. And he's like, let me just play the whole fourth. And it's like, all right.
That's probably what it is, was that he's still not 100%, and maybe the Mavs just didn't want him out there. And then when the fourth quarter comes and the game's completely out of reach, it's just like, all right, get out there. And this is basically just like us doing cardio with you, You know
what we should do? We should go to the Naji Marshall, the source. Go to his Twitter.
True, that's true.
He's probably replied to somebody by now and said what happened. He hasn't, but yeah, so that was strange. Maxey.
Yeah.
He hit a dang three. He hit it the first one since.
Oh, they said it October?
November 25th.
Oh.
It's been almost a month. Now, he missed some games in there. He's played 16 games. How many threes do you think he's made this season?
That was his third, wasn't it?
He's his third three.
They were saying that on the...
I thought his defense was good tonight. I thought he added stuff. Kid threw him in there because the one thing the Portland team is terrible all around. They're the 28th ranked offense, but the one thing they do on offense is get offensive rebounds. And so you had to throw some bodies out there. And I thought Max's defense was good tonight.
It was good against the Clippers a few nights ago too. I mean, that's why he plays, man. That's why he plays. It's like he can't be a. My God, I'm looking at this Mavs. I clean the glass. The Mavs are the 24th ranked defense in the last 2 weeks.
The Mavs have? Yeah. Well, they've had some crazy games.
They have had some crazy games, but and one of those was out Luka and Kyrie, who are defensive anchors. But yeah, I mean, he just can't be a black hole offensively. Meaning, if he's open for three, he has to shoot it. He can't pass out of drives. He has to remember he's 6'10" and big. Yeah. So that's really it.
Also, the last 2 weeks of games has only been like what 3-4 games.
Yeah, they're 3-2 over that stretch.
Yeah,
so
not a big sample. That's it. The Mavs get a win against the Blazers. We'll take it. Daniel Gafford, great showing. Everybody else, good, solid team win. Luka and Kyrie doing their thing. Check out the QR code for different ways to follow the show. We'll be back tomorrow with more. We'll have all through the holidays. We'll have a post-game show, Slightly 9. We'll be in the AAC. So if you're going to be there at the game, come say hi to us in section 123. We'll be there after the game. And yeah, we'll be hanging out. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. Subscribe to the show, follow, like, subscribe, all that. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Peace out. Boom.
Merry Christmas.